of yarn. In another lifetime I was a musician in Europe. I worked for 13 years, and in that 13 years I played 3,159 shows on my books. And I did a few cashies on top of that as well, but that was what I did on the books. And it was hard work. Now, this video I'm making for you guys is actually about how you can improve your own prey drive, but to do that I've got to go back and tell you a little bit about my life in Europe. So I left in 1991 with my rucksack and my guitar, and I went to Sweden, failed there miserably. I went all over Europe and didn't do very well at all, but when I got to Germany I actually did really well, and I started to get shows, like lots of shows, booked myself all over the place, mostly in little pubs that were actually Irish pubs but based in Germany. Now the work got so much that I used to do, to begin with I'd do 10 or 15 shows in a row, and then I'd take a couple of days off, and I got heavily booked and I got quite popular, and I played under the show name of Spider. That's another story in itself, how I got that name. But anyway, what happened was I got so booked up I would end up doing up to 40, 50 and sometimes 60 shows in a row without a break. And every day I only ever ate one meal. You're probably thinking, well, how does this relate to hunting and prey drive? But we're going to get to that. So my output was huge. I would do these mega shows that were 4 or 5 hours long without a break. On stage I was like full on. And I'd have huge audiences because Germany's got it's not like a pub here in New Zealand. You've got this massive, like often you'd have 2,000, 3,000 people in front of you in a town like, say, Bielefeld, which had a massive pub. Or your average small pub during the week would even have, 30, 40 people, where here you might have a couple in the corner. So it was always a busy time for me. My output was huge. I had one meal a day. The reason I had one meal a day was because this is how my day would start. The cleaning lady would come and kick me out of my hotel room around 10 o'clock in the morning because I was always fast asleep. I'd get all my gear together, I'd get down to the train station, look at my music plan, say I was in the town of Fulda, today I've got to be in Saarbrücken, okay, it's going to take me 5.5 hours, I've got to connect that train there, so I'd work out all my trains, buy my ticket, jump on a train, get to Saarbrücken, find out where the Irish pub was there or where I was playing. If it wasn't too far to walk, I'd put my rucksack on my back, carry my guitar and all my gear, get to the pub, set up. Once it was all set up, I'd go and find a place where I could eat, and my meal would be normally a chicken, like a whole chicken with some vegetables and maybe some pasta or some potato, some sort of carbohydrate, but a lot of vegetables, and that would be my only meal for the day. Then I'd go to the hotel and book myself in, get to the hotel, have a shower and clean myself from the day before, spruce myself up, go back down to the pub, sit at the bar, have a beer and talk to somebody who come in, start my show normally about 9:30 at night, play the show. I wouldn't take breaks. I used to do a solid 4 or 5 hour show. Boom. I'd have a girl or a young woman go around at least with a tambourine sometimes or with my hat getting tips. So that's how I made most of my money, and I'd sell a few CDs. I'd finally finish, if it was a Friday or Saturday night, I'd get finished at 1 o'clock at night, and by the time I've got off stage and broke it down I'd be 2, then I'd change all my small change and get that made into notes so I wasn't carrying a bag of money home. And I'd get out of the pub quite often at 3 or 4 in the morning, sometimes even later, and go back to my hotel and crash out. After 4 or 5 hours sleep, tops, I'd get woken up by the cleaning lady and start all over again. My output was, like, for 13 years, to do 3,159 shows was huge. I was like constantly on the go, and I only yet had one meal a day because I had no other time to eat. What I didn't realise then was by eating less and eating the right food, good nutrition, my body was working better than it ever had when I used to have 3 square meals a day, which is what I was educated and taught to eat like when I was a kid. I'm a skinny guy, I've got skinny arms and legs. I mean, my legs look like threads hanging off my bloody shorts. There's not much to me. My normal body weight should be around 70 kg, and always when I was young, people would be saying to me, oh, we'll fatten you up, we'll get this into you, and they'd always like, eat more, have more, son, and I'd be full. I didn't need more. I'm not that sort of body type. So anyway, I came back to New Zealand and got back into the old pattern of eating 3 meals a day, and I put on a lot of weight. And when you're a skinny guy, it's not good carrying that extra weight, and often I had stomach trouble, like just wasn't comfortable. Very recently, only a couple of months ago, I watched a video it's been life-changing for me in the last 2 months because it just made so much sense. I had a moment of clarity when I watched it. This makes complete logic. The video is called Eat Fast, Live Longer, and if you haven't ever seen that video, then I'll put it in a link below in this video itself. You have to watch this and keep an open mind. I've actually watched it 4 times now. You cannot deny the testing the doctors have done and the science behind it. It makes pure logic to me. This is where fasting and keeping your food at the natural level that it should be for us humans comes into play for hunting and prey drive. See, in nature, as we evolved over the years and you got to think on thousands and thousands of years, we as human beings never had so much food as we've got today. We would often have periods where our hunting didn't pan out and we didn't eat. We would often go days without food. Yet we're still here today, so we didn't die out as a species. Our whole system learnt to cope with natural fasting. You know, we would have crops that failed. We'd have all sorts of things, droughts. We'd have bad hunting, bad fishing, bad food gathering, and periods of time where we got very thin. But our bodies learnt to adapt. And you'll learn if you watch this video that when you do go through that phase, which is ketosis, when you go through that, your mind actually produces more neurons to work faster, so your brain becomes more intelligent to work out how to get food. Getting back to the prey drive thing and where this kicks in the video. The other night I went out to go and try and spear a flounder. I hadn't eaten for 36 hours. Well, I had actually, that's not quite true. I'd had less than 500 calories in the last 36 hours. I'd had a small bowl of oatmeal with some salt, a little bit of dried fruit and a little bit of milk. And that's all I'd had. And I was bloody hungry. Hunger, when you're fasting, comes in phases. You have moments where you're really hungry, then it goes away again and it comes. So I was out there in the estuary with my spear, my lamp and my kayak, trying to get myself a flounder. Now I had food at home in the fridge, so I didn't need to be out hunting or fishing, but I just wanted to go out and go for a fish because it was a good night for it. But there were no flounder around. Everywhere I looked, and I'd been walking in the water, freezing cold for 3 hours, freezing cold. My hands weren't functioning because you can't wear gloves if you're trying to operate a GoPro or paddle a kayak because everything gets wet. So I had bare hands, I had waders on, and I was walking through a lot of it, towing my kayak, and there were no flounder there. But every so often I saw a large yellow-eyed mullet. I went, I'll have you. They're really hard to spear if you've ever tried to spear one, eh? They're ching, 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 ching. But my prey drive was through the roof because I was so hungry. And I was alert, and I was thinking, normally, if there was no flounder after a couple of hours, I would have gone, oh, stuff this and gone home. But not tonight. Tonight I'm going to catch something. I don't care what it takes. And along came the first yellow-eyed mullet, and I missed it because they are so fast. And the second one came along, and I just knocked the kayak a bit. I noticed as soon as it heard me hit the kayak, it was gone as well. Third one came along, and I got him dazzled right in the lamp. And when I dipped my spear into the water, as soon as my water hit the surface, he was gone. So all the time I was getting this information, what not to do. Don't knock the kayak. Make sure your spear's already in the water. The next one that came along, I could see it. I had my spear in the water. I kept away from the kayak. I kept the beam right on his eyes and waited till he came up to me, and I was able to dazzle him enough to get the spear in. Okay, I got him in the guts and he swam away with a hole in him. And I didn't get him. But the next one after that, boom, right through the head. I actually speared 4 that night. I got 3 in the boat. One of them escaped through one of the holes in the kayak, but I come home with like 2 really nice, big yellow-eyed mullet. And towards the end of the night, I actually came across a flounder as well. So through that persistence and that prey drive and that clarity of mind, I was able to go out and harvest something where normally if I had already eaten, I would have come home with nothing. And then of course in nature, a few thousand years ago, not that long ago, what would happen to us is we'd get the kill, we'd take it back to our cave or our shelter or our village or whatever we were living in, and we'd eat it, and we'd eat up large, and then we'd chill out for a while. We'd relax because we're exhausted, process it, and then as our depletions got down, we'd go out and we'd hunt and fish again. This is a very natural process that we've lost today because we just got, particularly in Western society. I'm only really talking about Western society. Now, when I talk about this, I'm not suggesting that you fast before you hunt, particularly if you're a adolescent. Like young fellas that I take out in the bush, they hit the wall so quickly without tucker. So you've got to have tucker in your gut before you go out. But if you're like a mature man, or woman for that matter, then hunting with nothing in your belly for 24 hours is a cool experience. You can carry food with you as a backup if you think you're going to run out, which isn't a bad idea, but I really like the idea of going out lean, mean, and as a killing machine to hunt. And I'll be doing a lot more of my hunting with fast pre going out to basically simulate the way we evolved. This is only my thoughts on it and what I have found and what I've learned. Not necessarily correct, but for me it's been correct. I hope you got something from it. Good luck with your own fishing, your own hunting, and your own fasting. And check out that movie, because it was life-changing for me. I've shared it with a few people that are close to me and a few people that I think will benefit from it, and so far they've all come back with something positive. The Kiwi Bushman, our good mate, I shared it with him today, and he wrote something back to me like, yeah, take my money, this is me, man, I love my food, this will work for me. And there's a lot of people who said the same thing, this will work for me and I can do this. Because you want to have something that's not a fad you do for a while and you get sick of, because that's what often happens with these sort of diets and things. You want to have something that you can sustainably do for the rest of your life and enjoy doing and keep better health. Anyway, that's it. Be good. If you can't be good, be careful. See you later. That's a good fish. Happy days. And my motto is now, if in doubt, knock 'em out.